You've seen them, the people who rise above their circumstances, the ones who weren't born into privilege, weren't handed anything, but somehow managed to rewrite the script of their lives. You hear their stories and wonder how they did it. Were they lucky, gifted? Was it just the right timing? No, it all began with a choice. A single, simple, often invisible decision that set everything else into motion. More clarity, more purpose, more success. But life gets noisy, it gets repetitive. You wake up, scroll your phone, rush through breakfast, go to a job that may not inspire you, come home, and try to relax just enough to do it all again tomorrow. Days blur together. Dreams get buried under routines. The kind of choice that seems small in the moment but opens a door to something greater. Because the next choice you make might just be the one that changes everything. Not because the world around you instantly transforms, but because you start showing up differently. You begin to think bigger, act braver, and live with intention. This is about how ordinary people become extraordinary one choice at a time. When you say, I get to choose how I respond, you reclaim the pen. You stop being a character in someone else's story and become the author of your own. That shift, subtle as it may seem, separates the extraordinary from the ordinary. This is not a story about overnight success or instant transformation. This is about the quiet power of choosing differently. But those who rise don't wait. They decide. They act. Start where you are, with what you have, and ask one simple question. What's the next best choice I can make? They create the opportunity by showing up before they feel ready. Maybe it's reaching out to someone who inspires you, or forgiving someone who hurt you. Maybe it's turning off the noise and sitting in silence with your thoughts. So, take a moment to pause. Peel back the curtain on their story and you'll find it wasn't one grand event that made them. Maybe you're dealing with debt, a job you dislike, a health issue, or a past that weighs you down. Those things are real. They matter. But they are not your full story. They are chapters, not the conclusion. But over time, that 1-degree change completely alters your destination. That's what choices do. They redirect your path before you even realize you're heading somewhere new. It was thousands of seemingly insignificant moments. It was grit in the face of failure, discipline when no one was watching, saying no to comfort so they could say yes to growth. Let's be honest, most people want to do better. They want more. But here's the truth. You're never stuck unless you choose to be. Choosing to read instead of scroll. Saying yes to something that scares you or no to something that drains you. Extraordinariest lives are not built in a single moment. They are constructed in quiet, consistent decisions that compound over time. Every day offers opportunities to shift your path. The catch, they don't always look like breakthroughs. Sometimes they look like waking up an hour earlier. Think of someone you admire, a leader, an artist, a successful entrepreneur. You may be thinking, that's great for them, but my situation is different. The moment you decide that where you are is not where you have to stay, everything changes. That's the choice that cracks open possibility. It starts when you take responsibility not for everything that's happened to you, but for what happens next. Let's talk about what that looks like. Responsibility is not about blame, it's about power. Most people wait for permission. They wait for the perfect time, the right opportunity, the green light. You don't have to overhaul your life overnight. You don't need a dramatic gesture. Maybe it's choosing water over soda. Maybe it's setting your alarm for 30 minutes earlier to work on a passion project. These choices may not seem like much at first, but momentum doesn't come from giant leaps. It builds with small, intentional steps taken consistently. Think of your life like a plane flying just 1 degree off course. In the beginning, that shift is barely noticeable. Here's something else most people don't understand. Failure is not the enemy. Fear is not the fear that keeps you alive, but the fear that keeps you small. The fear that whispers, what if I'm not good enough? Or what if I try and fail? That fear convinces you to stay comfortable, to avoid risk, to play it safe. But safety rarely leads to greatness. Everyone who's ever done something remarkable has felt fear. The difference is, they acted anyway. They chose courage over comfort. Not once, but again and again. It's more than just thinking positively. It's about the lens through which you view the world and yourself. Fixed mindset says, I am what I am. Growth mindset says, I can become more. You're going to fail. That's not a threat. It's a guarantee. They reframe problems as puzzles. They see setbacks as setups. They choose to believe that effort creates change. That discipline beats talent when talent doesn't show up. And that today is not just another day, it's a fresh opportunity. But failure isn't a signal to stop. It's feedback. It teaches you, refines you, points you toward what works and what doesn't. If you don't take control of your time, someone else will. If you're always the most driven person in the room, it's time to find a new room. Energy is contagious. So is mediocrity. Becoming extraordinary doesn't mean becoming perfect. It means showing up again and again. Even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. One powerful choice. Own your mornings. Don't start your day reacting to messages or scrolling endlessly. Start it by investing in yourself. Move your body, feed your mind, set your intention. Do something that moves you forward before the world asks anything from you. Every extraordinary person you admire has a trail of failures behind them. You notice possibilities you once ignored. You attract people who match your energy. You begin to feel alive again, not because life is perfect, but because you are fully engaged. What separates them isn't luck, it's persistence. They chose to get back up. What makes them heroic is not that they never struggle, it's that they continue. They choose to rise, choose to believe, choose to act. And if they can, you can too. Maybe it's the decision to start. Maybe it's the decision to keep going. Maybe it's the decision to believe that you are capable of more. Let's talk about mindset. It grows quietly, in the background, through consistent, intentional effort. You don't need permission. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need to decide that today matters, that your life matters, that your choices matter, who are willing to become the best version of themselves, not for applause, but because they know what's possible. The extraordinary don't pretend everything is easy. They just refuse to settle. Not rigid routines, but rhythms that support who you want to become. Morning rituals, evening reflections, goals that stretch you, environments that elevate you, books that challenge you, people who inspire you. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to choose growth. When you adopt that mindset, the world responds differently. Now let's get even more practical. Every extraordinary life has structure. The world will pull at your attention constantly. Also, audit your circle. Surround yourself with those who reflect your future, not your past. Your environment shapes your choices. Make sure it's one that nurtures your growth, not numbs your ambition. And while you're on this journey, give yourself grace. You are not defined by your past. You are shaped by your decisions. Every great story has conflict. Every hero faces trials. Right now, in this moment, you are one decision away from a different life. Don't underestimate the power of small beginnings. Don't let ordinary moments fool you. Greatness rarely announces itself with fireworks. And here's the beautiful part. You don't need to wait, because they do. The world doesn't need more people who coast. It needs people who are awake, who are intentional. From ordinary to extraordinary, it's not a leap, it's a choice. One choice at a time.